Hi everybody, it's Kathy here and welcome back to my channel. Today we are playing part of Stamp and Stencil Savvy, and this is a hop hosted by Brianna from Love My Life on Paper, and we are stamping a journaling box this month. So the whole goal is to use our stencils and our stamps on a layout, stencils in any way we choose, but we are given a directive with our stamping, and the directive for this month, as I said, is journaling boxes. So I am preparing my layout to incorporate both into these, and I'm using Kaiser Craft this month. So I have a beach photo because that's my happy place, and I am going to build my layout around that photo. So I'm just trimming down a mat which will go underneath the photo, and I'm going to actually work that mat into a double, but I wanted to work out where to stencil. So I have this diamond stencil, and I am using scorched timber through it with my Distress Oxide, and I'm just inking up the page where the mat is, just so that I have a little bit showing, and this will be all blended in with what is going to happen on this layout. So sometimes I'll use paste through my stencil, but this time I'm actually just going to use the oxide ink through it. I'm just going to distress edge this piece of paper, and then I will distress it with the distressing tool just to give it a little bit of interest and lift it off that frame. So when I'm looking at my layouts, I'm looking at the feel of the layout, I'm looking at the photo and what I want to reflect from the photo. And because my photo is of the beach, I want it to have a bit of a rustic, rough feel to it. So I'm going to ink up the edge of this mat that I'm using to photo mat, and then I'm going to trace around the photo, which you'll see me do in a moment. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm actually going to tear out the center, or cut out the center, because I want to do this as an overlay frame. And that's, so you can see that I took out the center there, and now I'm just tearing out the edge, and I'm leaving a little bit of a lip there so that I can distress it even further. And I'm going to use my nail to bring it up around, as you can see. Just tucking those corners up and around, and then I'm going to do this twice with another piece underneath it, so that it has a double rimmed layout for the photo mat. And I'm going to also use the Distress Oxide around the outside of this, so it just gives it that shading and shadow effect. So I'll do it once again. This time it's just going to be a 1/4 of an inch smaller. So I started, the first one I did was 6 by 8. This one's going to be 7 3/4 by 5 3/4, and I'm just going to place that over the top, seal it down, and then because it's just the base that I trimmed out of my frame, I'm just going to take out the center roughly, because I don't really need that white piece in between, and I'm going to then rough it up again, and that will give it its double layer of framing. And that's just an effect that I wanted to create that builds on that rustic beach feel. You can do this sort of effect for anything. You can make it like a 3D look. You can build embellishments in behind before you put it over a photo. There's a whole lot of things that you could do. You could raise it up on foam tape, but I'm just going to have it flat against the photo. And I'm just checking that all of the main parts of the photo are revealed, and then I'm just going to leave it as is, as you can see, and I'm just going to run that Distress Oxide over the edging just to put that extra shadowing in, and I'm very happy with how that's turned out. So I'm just going to tape that down over the top of this one. So I'll put my photo down first, and then you'll see that I'm only working on my base, not attached to my frame yet, and that's because I want to do my stamping first. So I'm going to put down my photo, which is going to be in the top right hand corner, and then I'm only putting this frame down flat, but like I said, you could pop it up with foam tape, you could put embellishments in under the frame over the photo. There's a whole lot of things. You could turn it into a shaker if you wanted to. This is my photo of my one time at the beach in summer. It's my happy place. I love the beach. Look at the water, look at the colours. It's just so refreshing and it's so exhilarating, and I just get a big buzz out of it. Now, the directive was to put a journaling box, so I went and found some of my old close to my heart stamps, and I'm putting in this notepad type of journaling box here, and it looks like it's on pages from a book. I'm also adding in some bubble stamping just to reflect the water. I'm going to cover up my photo there because I don't want to stamp over the top of my photo. I do want to have the bubbles going around the layout just for that added water feature and adding it to the thing. Now you can see that foam there. I never knew until I watched. I can't even, maybe it was Scrappy Cathy that had the foam from her stamps, or maybe it might have been Helen Ding. I'm not too sure which one it was. It was one of those two, and I didn't realise that that's what you'd use that for the stamping. So much better. Thanks whoever it was that taught me that. That's great. Made my stamping so much cleaner. And now I am putting my layout to my frame, and I'm just going to add a little bit of stamping where it's not been stamped, where I missed a bit, and then I'm happy with that overall effect. So it looks like it's fading into both areas, and now it's time to build up my embellishing. So I have this branding strip from an old Kaisercraft beach. I think it's called Coastal Beaches or Coastal something, Coastal Waters, and it says my happy place is the beach, which is so true. The happy place is the beach. I always feel rejuvenated every time I go to the beach. I'm just going to trim out with my craft knife the little bits in between these flowers that I have fussy cut from another piece of Kaisercraft from this range. And this one is a tropical range. And I'm just going to ink the edges to take away the harshness of that fussy cutting. And I'm going to give it some dimension by softly curving the petals using my thumb and fingers. And that way it just comes up off the page, off the layout a little bit, and adds a little bit of interest and texture. So I'll do that to all the flowers, and then I've got the leaves which I'll tuck in underneath once I start placing them onto the layout. So if you don't have ephemera, you can use a sheet that has these giant flowers on it, and you can fussy cut them out and include them as part of your embellishing. It's a great way of stretching your stash, and it's also a great way of doing complementary pieces because they come from the same paper range. And as you can see, I'm just tucking the photos in to build up a cluster in the top left and the bottom right. So it's a diagonal sort of effect that I'm going for around the frame of the photo. I'll tuck in the leaves and make sure that I've got a balance between the greenery and the teal bluey colour. And that allows the eye to be naturally roaming the layout. And I'm just going to sweep these bigger ones down through the layout. And I'm liking how this is all coming together. And I have an extra flower left over, which I'm going to tuck there. Now, when you see me, I'm going to go off camera to glue it down. I did make a little bit of change with the leaves over on the left-hand side, but it's still pretty much the same as I did. So after that, of that frame that I had cut out at the centre behind the photo, I have fussy cut out the shells, and I'm going to add these to the bottom of the journaling box. I've also got two larger shells which I tucked into the clusters at the top, and I'm just going to put them peeking out through the flowers as well. And that all ties in with that beach theme, that beach vibe for this page. I'm popping some of the shells up on foam tape, as I said. I put some foam tape under some of the flowers as well, and that just allows for that added dimension to the layout. Tuck a little one in there, tuck another little one in there. I have the bigger one at the top of that cluster, and there's how this has come together. It's looking quite nice and balanced, which is what I like. I'm just going to put in this last little shell down here, and then I can get onto the journaling. And that was the whole purpose, was to have a journaling box on the layout. So I'm just thinking about what I'm going to write, and I do write about the beach being my happy place and being my only time this summer due to my sickness. Handwriting on your layouts is really good. I know a lot of us go, oh, my handwriting's terrible, but it is a dying art. Being a teacher, I can tell you it is a dying art. With digital technology being at the forefront of things we do, handwritten texts are on the way out. So it's really important that we record with our handwriting, because in the future, people will want to see what we did, how we did our handwriting. So it's nice to add it to your layout, and it's also that extra personal touch. So I have gone through my wooden letters, and I've pulled out the ones to make my title, and using the Gathered Twigs Distress inks, and I've got them in these stain daubers. I am colouring them up for my layout. Now as they dry, they will get lighter and they will blend in. I'm also using the Tim Holtz Distress Spritz. I'm using the squeezed lemon for this one, and that's giving it a lighter gold shimmer and taking the colour down, which is really, really effective on these wooden pieces. And it's an extra way of adding colour to your otherwise plain titles. So my wood pieces for these two have stickers on the back, which is great, so I can just peel those off and put them onto my layout. And then these ones I'm gluing into place as I go using my Nuvo glue. So it says my kind of, and then I've got the larger wooden pieces that say Vibe. And I like how it's got the variegated colour throughout it. So it's lighter and then it gets darker. So that gives more visual stimulation for the eye, and it gives it a different look across the layout. So just to finish off, I'm just going to add in my Nuvo drops. Actually, I'm using pops of colour, and they are adding to my 3 points around my layout. And I'm just going to flick them underneath, and that turns them into a faux enamel dot, which is always helpful. And if you don't have pops of colour, you could use Nuvo drops, or you could use gemstones. There's a whole lot of other things. Sequins, they all have the same effect. Brads even. So there you can see where I have my stamped journaling box. I have my use of my stencil, and I have completed this layout for the month of February. I cannot believe we are in February already. There you go. Hope something here inspires you to get creative today. If I've done something that inspires you, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate your feedback. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below. There will be a full playlist linked below of all the people who are stamping along and creating in this hop. Thanks, Brianna, for organising it. It is a great hop and I love being part of it. Don't forget to leave me a comment. Thanks for watching. Happy scrapping until next time, and here's my next video for you.